It's time for the Aatrox jungle tier list era, and this isn't the entire list here. You probably should click the link in the description. Anyways, people keep asking me for Renekton, Poppy, and Morgana, so I added those three in. And honestly, all but Morgana, even she's kind of just like a borderline, are not worth it. I mean, like, Renekton surprisingly clears faster than you'd expect, and has a little bit more sustain than you'd expect. However, it's pretty bad still. However, his reliance on Fury makes his ganks atrocious. I mean, yeah, he's got a double dash, conditional double dash, and a stun, but for starters, it's melee, it's short range, and it consumes the Fury likely when you try to use it to get close to a minion. Get close. If you even have Fury, you won't deal any damage. And then you're chasing, which is being terrible. He has high cooldowns, if you remember. Even like you're not going to get anything, and if you won't get the gold to transition into a damage dealer or anything aside from a meat shield. So you're not even going to be a good tank. Poppy's kind of the same deal. But a little bit worse. She's slower. She's got no sustain. Her dueling is a lot better, but her ganking is worse. I mean, if they're close to a wall, you'll pile driver them and probably kill them. But otherwise, you just push him to some direction. Sure, you can get behind him and then push him back to the teammate, but that's not going to do anything. They can easily just flash or use some form of escape. She's a terrible jungler. She can work sometimes in very weird conditions, or if your opponents are kind of not, just kind of being stupid. But yeah, she's just bad. Morgana is the one that surprisingly works out better. For starters, let's just say her stun makes her work. Her snare, Her snare makes her work, because any character with a CC like that can function properly, even if they suck in the jungle. However, she clears relatively fast early, and she's sustained early. Health-wise, mana-wise, is atrocious. And she supports supportive qualities which allow her to transition better. However, she still does need a lot of gold, otherwise those support qualities don't actually do anything later in the game. She needs AP and tankiness in order to actually use her, ultimate or deal any damage. So that's not something she's actually gonna get. So she'd probably be a support jungler that's more expensive than the other support junglers, and who will probably die to a breeze or anything. She can't survive other junglers, and she can't survive a counter gank to save her life, and her movement speed is just atrocious. Rammus. I've been seeing more Rammus, and holy hell, have I hated Rammus. This is something I needed, though, because the only way I can judge a champion without playing him myself is to see him and get destroyed by them, or destroy them, and I just judge them based on that. And I've come to hate every single time a jungle Rammus comes to counter gank me. His counter ganks are brutal, and it's sort of like the ganks that come out of nowhere. You don't see them coming all the time. They come at you real quickly, and you might not be able to escape them, and then he just brings your ass back with his goddamn taunt. It really sucks if you're using this physical champion, because then his W just destroys you. As a jungler, that's kind of a pain, because most champions are physical. So, Jarvan, Lee Sin, and shit. So, he's becoming quite the pain in the ass, especially since he still has a little Skarner thing with his E. They flash or whatever, and you use your E anyways, and you just drag them back. So it's going to be a pain in the ass, and he's actually a lot sturdier than I give him credit for. Jungle-wise, Nunu is everybody. Do I really need to talk about him? But I guess I do. He's going to get nerfed. So he's temporarily really strong up there. Once he gets nerfed, he'll probably just get tweaked down just a little bit. But otherwise, everybody knows him as the spawn of Satan, or Satan himself, or whatever. He's probably in the top of everybody's tier list right now. He's pretty much permabanned. Any jungler worth a damn already knew that Nunu was a pain in the ass. However, he became a bigger pain in the ass with his recent buff. And he wasn't exposed by some video by somebody. He was kind of just, every jungler knew when they saw that number, holy mother of God, I have a super smite already in the beginning of the game at a much lower cooldown. I am going to be God. I am going to be, God's God. So, he wasn't exposed by anybody. Sure, the videos helped the lesser non-junglers play, but all the junglers knew he was an asshole. And there's really nothing much to go on here. You all probably been sodomized by him already, so I'll say this though: you have to use junglers that can duel. They can start wherever, that can have good dueling and good chasing, and pretty much can rely on counter ganking in order to do well. Look, new and chasing and hunting down Nunu. Lee Sin and Elise are two of the best ones when dealing with Nunu. He can't really avoid them. I mean, if he tries to run, they can catch up to him several fucking times, keep him pinned down, and probably kick his ass. They can start off red or blue or any other place and pretty much jungle well. They can gank with little resources, and they can even do direct ganks, which are very very good against junglers who just got butt fucked. And they don't the Nunu will be looking to ward everything. Direct ganks can't really be warded for, so if anything, they can still rely on that for their gold intake, and that's something Nunu can't counter. Of course, also in a counter gank situation, you'd want to kill Nunu, and then get the snowball rolling back in your favor. No pun intended there. And these Elise and Lee Sin are monsters at doing that. So if you want an answer to Nunu, just use one of those two. Aatrox. So Aatrox was a disappointing jungle, but to be honest, we shouldn't have expected him to be a jungle. I mean, I expected him when he came out, when I saw him, to be one of those characters that can jungle, but is better in a lane, significantly better in a lane. When it comes to the jungle, he's kind of like a broken ass Warwick. He's like a fusion of Warwick, Rengar, and what's his face, Malphite. I love his Q. I think his Q is probably his best ability, and it makes his jungle actually work. It can make it makes ganking with him actually functional. Surprisingly, for a carry, for a fighter jungler or carry or whatever you want to call him, it makes it work. His sustain is limitless. His damage is moderate. His clearing is fine. His speed is actually up there, but then it starts trickling down and becomes slower. But his farm requirement is too steep for a jungler, and we all know that, and that's not going to happen. He's actually fragile. He's got his CC, while great, requires him to go in, and he'll probably die because he's not a tank. He's good at following up, though. Don't get me wrong. His dueling is actually pretty damn atrocious early levels when it matters. So if he gets found out in the jungle, he'll probably die unless he got the jump on them. And even then, hopefully it's not someone like Skarner or Lee Sin who would just break their face in. Though his passive allows him to do a lot of stupid things and get away with it, which is fine. His passive is a mixed bag for me. I like it and hate it at the same time. And then the rest of the things I'll just talk about is the new Magic's Razor is just terrible. I mean, Wriggles is good on certain champions like Lee Sin, mostly because of that little super extra ward you get, and I guess on Jarvan sometimes, or against very physical heavy teams. But overall, the Spirit items just tend to be a lot better. I mean, even against physical teams, you could buy Spirit of the Ancient Golem and buy Ninja Tabi instead, because you'd get your tenacity from there. So yeah, Magic's Razors needs to be tweaked up. I'm surprised by that change. However, though, I'm hoping that Master Yi change, by the way, makes him a lot better in the jungle as well. Pretty damn sure it's made to control how how wonky APE is and how useless AD is overall. I mean, he has uses, but yeah, he kind of just sucks. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the tier list, and remember that it's all opinion, and you can read the entire thing down there in the description.